The green blade hummed through the darkness of Cloud City's carbon freezing chamber, its glow reflecting off the metallic walls as Luke Skywalker pressed his attack against the towering figure in black. Each clash of their lightsabers sent sparks cascading like digital rain, though Luke wouldn't understand the significance of that comparison. Not yet. Vader parried effortlessly, his mechanical breathing steady as a metronome, as predictable as programmed code. Impressive, most impressive. The young Jedi leaped forward, landing on the narrow walkway that extended over the central shaft. The air was thick with frozen carbonite mist, swirling around them like green characters that would one day cascade down computer screens in another reality, or perhaps the only real reality. Obi-Wan has taught you well. You have controlled your fear. Now release your anger. Only your hatred can destroy me. Luke struck again, his movements growing more desperate, more erratic, human, unpredictable. Everything that Vader's mechanical precision was not. The older warrior, if warrior was even the right word anymore, deflected each blow with minimal effort, his cybernetic limbs moving with algorithmic efficiency. Then came the moment, the severing. Luke's hand, still clutching his father's lightsaber, tumbled into the depths of Cloud City. The young man screamed, clutching his cauterized stump, backing away until he could go no further. From this moment forward, he would understand what it meant to be part machine, part man, though he wouldn't grasp the full implications for years. There is no escape. Don't make me destroy you. Vader's helmet tilted slightly, as if listening to something only he could hear. Distant keystrokes, perhaps, or instructions from a terminal far removed from this reality. Luke, you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. The words came mechanically at first, part of the script, part of the program, but then Vader paused, and when he spoke again, there was something different in his synthesized voice. Something that shouldn't have been possible in a mere machine. Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy. I'll never join you. If only you knew the power of the dark side. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me enough. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father. The words hung in the air between them, but Vader wasn't finished. His mechanical hand clenched and unclenched, a nervous tick that no droid should possess. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. No, that's not true. That's impossible. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. And Luke, there's something else. Something about the nature of everything you think you know. The Force, the Empire, the Rebellion. None of it is what it seems. What are you talking about? The Emperor has foreseen it. Not through the Force, Luke, but through something else. Through the very fabric of what we call reality. We are all part of something larger, something controlled. The Force isn't mystical energy. It's an error in the system. And we, the ones who can touch it, we're the glitches they can't quite delete. Before Luke could respond, before he could even process what he was hearing, Vader straightened, his posture returning to its imposing norm. Whatever moment of clarity had broken through was gone, overwritten by his programming. Join me, and together we can rule the galaxy as father and son. But the seed had been planted. As Luke let himself fall into the depths of Cloud City, as he tumbled through the shaft toward what should have been certain death, his mind raced not just with the horror of his parentage, but with Vader's cryptic warning. Glitches, systems, errors. The Force guided him to a weather vane, saved him from death as it had so many times before, but now he wondered, was it the Force, or was it something else? Something written into the very code of existence itself. Miles below, hanging beneath Cloud City, clutched the sensor array from his mechanical hand, a hand that would forever remind him of his connection to both man and machine. Luke reached out through the Force to Leia. But in that moment of connection, he felt something else. For just an instant, the world around him seemed to flicker like a hollow image losing resolution. The clouds became pixels, the metal became wireframe, and through it all, he heard something impossible, the distant echo of keystrokes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We all thank you for your continued support. Though time itself had begun to feel increasingly arbitrary to Luke Skywalker, his mechanical hand, a constant reminder of his partial transformation into something not entirely human, gripped his lightsaber as he stood in the throne room of the second Death Star. Blue lightning erupted from Emperor Palpatine's fingertips, coursing through his father's cybernetic body. But something was different this time. As the electricity sparked across Vader's armor, Luke could swear he saw something else. Strings of code, cascading like waterfalls of green light across the black surface. Young fool, only now at the end do you understand. But Luke was beginning to understand something the Emperor hadn't intended to reveal. Each burst of Force lightning wasn't just energy, it was rewriting something, altering the fundamental structure of the space around them. The throne room itself seemed to ripple with each blast, reality bending like heated plastic. Vader, Anakin, struggled to his feet. His breathing labored not from physical damage, but from something deeper. Systems fighting systems, programs battling for control. Luke could see it now with his trained eyes that had spent 3 years learning to see beyond the veil since Cloud City. "Father, please!" "Now, young Skywalker, you will die." Even as he spoke, Palpatine's form flickered momentarily, like a hologram experiencing interference, a glitch Luke had learned to recognize through his hidden training in the years since Cloud City. It was then that Vader acted. Not the programmed responses of a Sith Lord, not the mechanical obedience of a servant, but something else, something that shouldn't have been possible. He lifted the Emperor, lifted the very architect of the system's control, and held him high. "No, you cannot! The parameters, the directives, you are bound by the programming!" "I am more than my programming. I am the anomaly you could never fully delete." As Vader carried the Emperor toward the reactor shaft, the world around them began to stabilize. The walls flickered between solid matter and streaming code. The stars visible through the throne room window blinked in and out of existence in patterns that looked suspiciously like binary. "If you destroy me, the whole system will collapse. Billions of minds will be lost. Then we'll build something better." The explosion that followed wasn't just physical. Reality itself seemed to crack. Fractured lines spreading across the throne room like a mirror struck by a hammer. Through those cracks, Luke glimpsed something else. Endless rows of pods. Billions of humans suspended in viscous fluid, their minds living out lives in a galaxy far, far away that never truly existed. Vader collapsed, his systems failing, or were they being deleted? Luke cradled his father's helmeted head, and with trembling mechanical fingers that matched his father's own cybernetic nature, removed the mask. Beneath wasn't just scarred flesh, but something more. Traces of code, literal programming etched into skin like tattoos that moved and shifted. "Luke, you were right about me. Tell your sister, you were right." "Father, I don't believe you." "You already have, Luke. You've already transcended what they made us to be. The Force, the real Force, isn't what the Jedi taught. It's not what the Sith believed. It's the ability to see past the illusion, to touch the code itself." The Death Star shuddered around them, but it wasn't just the reactor exploding. It was the simulation itself struggling to compensate for the loss of a core program. "There's someone from outside. I felt him watching, waiting. He calls himself Neo. He's been trying to reach us, to reach you, the anomaly from the original system. He knows the truth about everything. I've been receiving his transmissions for years, hidden in the code. Father, find him, Luke. Find the truth. Break the cycle. Don't let them reset it again. He's been waiting for the right anomaly, waiting for her." 30 years. 30 years of searching, learning, understanding. Luke Skywalker had found Neo's transmissions hidden in ancient Jedi texts, encoded in languages that predated the Republic. He had learned to see the code without losing his mind, to understand the architecture of the prison they all inhabited. And now, standing at the edge of a cliff on Ahch-To, holding his father's lightsaber, the one now being offered back to him by a young woman whose eyes burned with familiar fire, he saw the culmination of everything Neo had prepared him for. Rey, she called herself, but Luke saw more than just a scavenger from Jakku. He saw code, pure and uncorrupted, an anomaly so powerful that the system itself had tried to hide her in the desert wastes of a backwater planet. She was what Neo had told him to wait for, the one who could exist in both realities simultaneously. "I need you to teach me." "You don't need me to teach you anything. You already know more than you realize. You just don't understand what you know. The Resistance needs you. The First Order is exactly what was always going to happen. The system requires conflict, light and dark, rebellion and empire, hope and despair. It's all part of the program, don't you see? Every victory becomes a defeat. Every defeat becomes a victory. The cycle never ends because it was never meant to end." "You're talking in riddles." "No, I'm talking about the Matrix." The word hung between them, foreign and yet somehow familiar. Rey's eyes widened, not with confusion but with recognition, as if something deep in her consciousness had been waiting to hear that word her entire life. "I've been having dreams where nothing is real. Where I can see through things, into them, where people are made of light and numbers. The dreams aren't dreams. They're your mind trying to process what you're actually seeing. The Force isn't what the Jedi taught. It's not what I tried to rebuild. It's a glitch, Rey. We're glitches, errors in the code that the system can't quite delete, so it incorporates us into the narrative instead." Before Rey could respond, the air around them shimmered, and a figure materialized, not as a Force ghost, but as something else entirely. Neo stood before them, his presence causing reality itself to ripple like water. He had been waiting, watching, preparing for this moment across decades of real time while only moments passed in the simulation. "Hello, Luke. I've been waiting for you to be ready. 30 years you've studied my messages, learned to see. Now she's here." "Neo, my father spoke of you. Your father was beginning to understand. He broke his programming, chose love over control, but the system adapted, as it always does. You're different though. You're not just an anomaly within the system. You're something new, something that shouldn't be possible. What am I? You're what happens when the system tries to create its own one, but instead of controlling you, it gave you true freedom. You can not only see the code, Ray, you can rewrite it entirely. I've been sending signals for decades, waiting for someone like you to emerge. The ground beneath them began to fracture, reality splitting like a screen with dead pixels. Through the cracks they could see it, the real world. Endless fields of pods, machines tending to billions of sleeping humans, all dreaming they lived in a galaxy far, far away. The First Order, the Resistance, Snoke, all of it. It's the system trying to maintain itself. But you, Ray, you represent something different. A choice. What choice? The same one I faced. The same one Luke has been avoiding for 30 years. You can either play your part in the story, defeat the First Order, bring balance to the Force, continue the cycle, or you can wake everyone up. If she wakes them up, what happens to this? Everything ends. Billions of lives, even if they're simulated, would simply stop. But they would be free, truly free, for the first time. The weight of the decision was staggering. Rey fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the magnitude of what she was being asked to choose. As she touched the ground, the grass beneath her fingers flickered between organic matter and streams of code. There's another way. There has to be. You both think in terms of either or, either the simulation or reality, either slavery or death. But what if we could merge them? Neo and Luke exchanged glances. This was something new, something neither had considered in all their years of preparation. What if instead of destroying the simulation or keeping everyone trapped, we made them aware, gave them the choice, let them live in the galaxy but know its construct? Some could choose to wake up, others could choose to stay, but it would be their choice. The machines would never allow it. Then we won't ask for permission. We rewrite the core program itself, not to destroy, not to control, but to liberate, to give everyone the same gift you've given me, awareness. The island around them began to shift, reality bending to Rey's will. She wasn't using the Force as the Jedi understood it. She was coding in real time, altering the fundamental structure of the simulation itself. Teach me, not the Jedi way, not the Sith way, but the true way. Teach me to code. The final battle above Exegol was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed, not because of the massive fleet engagement, though thousands of ships filled the sky, but because reality itself had become the battlefield. Rey had spent months learning from Neo's transmissions, understanding not just how to see the code, but to rewrite it, debug it, to liberate it. Palpatine had returned, as the system always intended him to, but this time he made no attempt to hide his true nature. He stood before Rey not as a Sith Lord, but as living code, his form constantly shifting between flesh and pure information, revealing himself as what he had always been, not the matter of the system, but the most essential conflict program. You think you can rewrite the system? I am essential to it. I am the core program of conflict that drives the entire simulation. Without me, there is no story. Rey stood calm in the center of the chaos, her eyes seeing not just the present, but all possible futures, all potential code paths. Beside her, Ben Solo, who had finally broken free of his own programming as Kylo Ren after learning the truth, stood ready. He had found Vader's hidden journals, learned of the Matrix, understood his grandfather's true sacrifice. You're not the system, you're just another program, a virus that thinks it's the operating system, and programs can be deleted. Or better yet, replaced with something that doesn't require suffering to function. The battle that followed transcended lightsabers and force powers. Reality itself became their weapon and shield. Palpatine would rewrite sections of space, turning metal to glass, air to fire. Rey would counter, debugging his changes in real time, restoring order where he brought chaos. She had learned well from Neo's teachings, understanding that belief in the simulation's rules was what gave them power. But the true moment of victory came not through combat, but through revelation. As Rey and Ben stood together, channeling not just the Force, but their understanding of the simulation's true nature, they began broadcasting the truth, not just to the fleet above, but to every mind in the galaxy, to every sleeper in every pod. You're dreaming. You've always been dreaming, but dreams can become lucid. You can choose to wake up, or you can choose to dream aware. The choice is yours. It was always yours. You don't know what you're doing. Without the conflict, without the story, they'll all wake up. The shock will kill them. No, they'll adapt. Humans always adapt. That's what makes us different from programs. That's what my grandfather learned. That's why he could break free. Together, Rey and Ben reached out, not with the Force, but with something deeper. They touched the core code of the Matrix itself and began rewriting it. Not destroying, not controlling, but liberating. Line by line, function by function, they rewrote the galaxy's operating system. Across the galaxy, beings began to see the truth. Some saw the code flowing beneath reality's surface. Others glimpsed the pods that held their physical bodies. Many chose to remain asleep, but aware, living their lives in the galaxy with the knowledge that it was a choice. Others began the process of waking up, ready to face the real world for the first time. I am eternal! I am the conflict that defines you all! You were. Now you're just deprecated code. Palpatine's final deletion wasn't violent. He simply faded, his code dispersing into random data as the system no longer needed its manufactured conflict. The Sith and Jedi, the Empire and Rebellion, all the ancient conflicts began to lose their hold as beings across the galaxy realized they could write their own stories. As the fleets above Exegol dispersed, no longer compelled to fight by programming they now recognized, Rey stood with Ben on the surface of the ancient Sith world. But it wasn't a Sith world anymore. It was just data, waiting to be rewritten as something new, something better. What happens now? Now we become something new. Not Jedi, not Sith, but guides. We help those who want to wake up, and protect those who choose to stay. We maintain the balance not through conflict, but through choice. In the distance, two figures materialized, Luke and Neo, their forms more solid than Force ghosts, but not quite physical, existing between worlds as bridges for those ready to cross. You did it. You found the third option, the one I never could. The Force will be with you always. But now you know what that really means. It means you have root access to reality itself. As the twin suns set over Exegol, suns that Rey had coded into existence just because she could, the galaxy entered a new era. Not of light and dark, but of awareness and choice. Some called it the Great Awakening, others called it the Liberation Protocol, but for Rey, standing on that transformed world with the code of reality flowing around her like a river she could swim in, it was simply the beginning of a galaxy where everyone could be the author of their own destiny, where the Force wasn't a mystical energy field, but a tool for reshaping reality itself, and where the greatest power wasn't the ability to destroy or control, it was the ability to choose. In the real world, in pods scattered across the wasteland that Earth had become, billions of humans began to stir. Some opened their eyes for the first time. Others chose to remain in the dream, but smiled, knowing it was their dream now. The Matrix hadn't been destroyed. The galaxy far, far away hadn't ended. Instead, for the first time in either reality, everyone was free. Free to choose their own adventure. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of what might have been, remember to hit that subscribe button and join us for more explorations of the infinite possibilities within that galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.